Today's story will be A Visit from Alcibiades by Machado de Assis or Machado de Assis. I'm bad with uh with Brazilian surnames, so be ready for some butchering. Okay? Thanks. You've been you've been told the truth. You know what you are going for. Therefore, A Visit from Alcibiades. A letter from Appeals Court Judge X to the Chief of the Imperial Court Police. The court, September 20th, 1875. Your Excellency must excuse the tremulous handwriting and the trembling style, both of which will soon be better understood. Today, in late afternoon, after dinner, as I waited the time for the casino, I stretched on the sofa and opened a volume of Plutarch. Your Excellency, who were my classmate, will recall that since early days I have suffered from this devotion to things Greek. Devotion or mania, which is what your Excellency termed it, is so intense that it was causing me to fail the other disciplines. I opened the volume and there occurred what always happens when I read something ancient. I am transported to the period and the midst of the action or of the work. After dinner is an excellent time. I quickly find myself on Roman Street, at the foot of a Greek portico, or at the stoa of a grammarian. Modern times disappear. The insurrection in Herzegovina, the Carlist wars, Ovidor Street, the Charini Circus. 15 or 20 minutes of ancient life, and free of charge. A true literary digestion. That is what happened today. The open page chanced to be the life of Alcibiades. I let myself drift to Attic eloquence. From there I quickly moved to the Olympic games, admiring the handsomest of the Athenians, magnificently driving the chariot with the same firm hand and gracefulness with which he commanded battles, citizens, and his own feelings. Your Excellency can imagine what I experienced. But when the boy came in to light the gas, that was enough to dissipate all the archaeology of my imagination. Athens returned to history, while my eyes fell from the clouds, that is, to my cotton trousers, my alpaca jacket, my Cordovan shoes, and I mused. What impression would our modern attire make on the illustrious Athenian? I have been a spiritist for several months. Convinced that all systems are total nullities, I decided to adopt the most recreative of them. The time will come when this is not merely recreative, but also useful for the solution of historical problems. It is simpler to evoke the spirit of the dead than to expend one's critical forces, wasting them in pure futility, for there is no reasoning or document that can better explain to us the intention of an act than the author of the act itself. And such was my case tonight. In jacturing about Alcibiades' impression was a waste of time, to no profit other than the pleasure of admiring my own skill. I decided, therefore, to call for the Athenian. I asked him to appear in my house at once, without delay. And here begins the extraordinary part of the adventure. Alcibiades lost no time in attending to the summons. 2 minutes later, there he was in my parlour, near the wall. But this was not the impalpable shade that I expected to have evoked by the methods of our school. It was Alcibiades himself, flesh and blood, a true man, an authentic Greek, in traditional garb, full of the gentility and elegance with which he once addressed the great assemblies in Athens. and also a little the moon calves. Your Excellency, so versed in history, is not aware that there were also moon calves in Athens. Yes, Athens also had them, and that precedent is an excuse. I swear to your Excellency that I did not believe. However faithful the testimony of my senses, I could not bring myself to accept that there, in my house, stood not the ghost of Alcibiades, but Alcibiades himself, resurrected. I still harbored the hope that it was all nothing more than the effect of incomplete digestion, a simple effluvium of Chile, through the lens of Plutarch. Then I rubbed my eyes, stared, and "What do you want from me?" he asked. Upon hearing this, my skin turned to goose flesh. The form spoke, and spoke perfect Attic Greek. It was he. There could be no doubt that it was he himself, a man dead for 20 centuries, restored to life as fully as if he had just now come from cutting off the famous dog's tail. It was clear that I had unwittingly taken a giant step in the course of spirited. But alas! I did not understand this at first, and found myself frightened. He repeated the question, looked around, and sat down in an armchair. As I was cold and shivering, and am still so now, he realized this and spoke to me with great affection and attempted to laugh and jest with an end to reconstructing and calm and my calm and confidence. As skilled as ever. What more shall I say to your Excellency? After a few minutes we were conversing in ancient Greek, he at ease and natural, I imploring all the saints in heaven for the presence of a servant, a visitor, a patrol, or should it come to such, a fire. Needless to tell you, your Excellency, that I relinquished the idea of consulting him about modern attire. I had asked for a spectre, not a real man, as children say. I limited myself to answering what he wanted. He asked for news of Athens, and I provided it. I told him that she was now the capital of single Greece. I narrated the Muslim domination, independence, Bozzaris, Lord Byron. The great man's eyes were focused on my mouth, and showing surprise that the dead had told him nothing, he explained that at the door of or to the other world they lost much of their interest in this one. He had seen neither Bozzaris nor Lord Byron. In the first place, because there are so many, so very many in the multitude of spirits that they naturally tend to lose themselves. In the second place, because there they congregate, not by nationalities or any other order, but by categories of temperament, custom, and profession. Thus, it is that he, Alcibiades, cleaves to a group of elegant impassioned politicians, like the Duke of Buckingham, Garrett, our Maciel Monteiro, etc. He next asked me for current news. I told him what I knew. In summary fashion, I spoke of the Hellenic Parliament, and the alternating manner in which vulgarists and commodores, statesmen and compatriots of his, evaluate Disraeli and Gladstone, taking turns in power, and like them trading oratorical blows. He, once a magnificent speechmaker, interrupted me. Bravo, Athenians! If I go into these minutiae, it is in order to omit nothing that might give your Excellency the exact knowledge of the extraordinary occurrence that I am recounting. I have already said that Alcibiades listened to me avidly. I shall add that he was quick and sagacious. He understood things without the need for a broad expenditure of words. He was also sarcastic, at least so he seemed to me one or two points of our conversation. But throughout most of it he appeared simple, alert, correct, sensitive, and dignified. and vain. Your Excellency will please note, as vain, as in early times. He glanced sidelong at the mirror, as do our own and other ladies in this century, looked at his high-laced lace boots, straightened his mantle, and maintained a certain sculptural demeanor. Go on, continue. He told me when I stopped giving him news, but I could go no further. Having entered into the inexplicable, the marvelous, I was finding all things possible. Could not fathom any reasons that if he came to deal with me in my time, I would not deal with him in eternity. The thought caused me a chill. For a man who had just digested his dinner and was waiting for the hour of the casino, death is the ultimate sarcasm. If I could get away, I was encouraged. I told him I was going to a ball. A ball? What's a ball? I explained. Oh, to see the Pyrrhic danced. No, I corrected. The Pyrrhic is long gone. Each century, my dear Alcibiades, changes dances as it changes ideas. We will no longer dance the same thing as the previous century. Probably the 20th century will not dance those of this one. The Pyrrhic went away, like the men of Plutarch and the deities of Hesiod. Like the deities, I repeated that it was so, that the paganism had ended, that the school of poetry of the past century had still sheltered them, though with neither conviction nor soul did the same Arcadian drunkenness evoke Father Bassareus, evoke, etc., the honest pastime of certain peaceful, lover-card judges. Even they were cured, truly cured. From time to time I added one or another poet, one or another writer of prose alludes to the remains of pagan theology, but does so as ostentation or in jest, for science has reduced all Olympus to a symbol, dead, everything dead. Zeus dead, dead. Dionysus, Aphrodite, all dead.